Thank you for taking this moment to breathe and to listen to what can change your life forever. My name is Ragna Zinikas, and I'm the founder of Starpreneur TV, How to Dominate the Decade talk show, World Women Conference and Awards, the creator of Coral Best, the coach of the Changemaker, and co-author of the book, Dominate the Decade. My mission is to empower through education, and thank you very much for joining us today. Today, I have the honor to talk with Chantelle Simone, a mindologist with over 18 years in training and coaching industry, has helped thousands of people shifting their thinking out of problem and into solution. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome Chantelle. Chantelle, it's a great pleasure to have you with us. Can you tell us who is Chantelle? Tell us your story and why have you chosen to do what you do?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, first of all, for having me. It's such an honor to be here. I absolutely love the title of Dominate the Decade. I so love that. And when I first met you, Renee, it was I just loved your passion for women and really making a change. And you've been walking the walk ever since I met you. So thank you so much. I so appreciate it. So yes, my name is Chantelle Simone, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm a mindologist. And really, I'm a person who stands for one thing, and that's purpose. I am all about our life purpose. And I realize that there's a huge part of us that's on the inside of us that will always be striving and longing to feel fulfilled in life. We want more joy, we want more happiness, we want more. Something doesn't feel right. We may hit a goal and it still's not satisfying. So life purpose is really what fills that void. We were all here for a reason. And even back in 2016, I started a program called the Passion Program. And it was helping people discover who they were, what their gifts are, what their talents were, and it was a beautiful thing. And I realized one key thing. After I followed up with them after the program, maybe 6 months, a year down the line, and I would ask them, so how's that business that you were wanting to start? How's the art program that you always wanted to do? Because a lot of people do their purpose as a hobby. So it's really turning it into, well, let's make this your life's work and how we can do that. But the number one thing that got in people's way was the way that they think. It's the self-doubt, it's limiting beliefs, is I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I've never started a business, are they going to buy from me, are they going to like me? So all these questions came into play. So right now what I'm doing, and because of my in-depth study of the mind, I'm starting with the mind first. So let's get through. A lot of us, we have these different visions in the past, but I say a lot of us are so foggy and so cloudy with the stuff from our past that it's like we're walking around like this. We can only see a little bit of the future, where if you just take the time to remove the things from the past, to clear that mind, to renew it, to transform it, it gives you a clearer vision of who you are, why you're here, how you're able to contribute, and that's who I am. I'm dedicated my life to helping people overcome limitations so they can live a purposeful life.
So, and what is your life purpose? Is this it? Helping others, or what is your true passion?
Absolutely. So I believe that we are all one body, and that's a great question. I believe that we're all one body. We're all connected. We've heard this time and time again. And for me, I believe if we're all connected and everybody operates in their God-given purpose, it's almost like if you look at a physical body, somebody is going to be the pinky, someone's going to be the thumb, someone's going to be the elbow, someone has to be the neck, everybody has their part. But what I found is that maybe the elbow is looking at the neck and saying, I want to be the neck, or I'm not good enough. I can't hold up a big structure like the neck does. I'm just an elbow. So I find that if we all step into our purpose and operate in whatever body part that we are, we will function as one body, as one people. And that's what I believe the earth to be. So my purpose is and I look at it like lights. So if you just think about lighting up every part of the body, everybody's living in their purpose, that part of the body is lit. If you're not living in the purpose, that part of the body is dull. So my whole desire, my whole purpose is to light up our body as one being so we can function. I truly believe that the world would be a total different place if everybody was operating their God-given purpose. So that's my mission, that's my purpose, that each and every person can light up to who they're designed to be on this earth and carry out their God assignment.
You touched a little surface, who is the mindologist? And let us understand more, like who are the people that desperately in today's world need one?
Very good question. So what's a mindologist and who needs a mindologist? Well, at the end of the day, a mindologist is somebody who has an in-depth study of the human mind and knows how to reproduce excellence. So through my master's certifications, through my studies, I realized there's some key elements. And you know, I always say that we're not void of information and nowadays, because we have access to information. We can Google anything. So it's not necessarily information, but it's allowing that information to click in your mind. So much so that it resonates with you. So much so that it becomes a knowing, a deep knowing, so much so that you actually act. So, you know, there's a saying, and it was Stephen Covey who said it, and I quote him often. He is the author of the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And he said that to know and not to do is truly not to know. So what I realize is that there's something missing in this earth. There's something, how is it that if we, in this day and age, we have access to all the answers we could possibly ask for through the little, you know, Uncle Google, like I say, how is it that we have all this access, but yet depression rates are increasing, unemployment rates are increasing, people are still longing and searching for time. Even during COVID-19 people, I asked, what's the biggest thing that you've done in COVID-19, or have you learned, what opportunity is open? And a lot of people said, well, I'm learning to reconnect with myself. I'm learning to just love myself more. So there's something missing within ourselves. That's the problem I discovered, which slows us down and kicks in all that negative thinking. So people who come to a mindologist and who would benefit from the work of working with a mindologist, they would be ones that are upstairs. They need, I call maybe some spring cleaning, right? If you look at your mind as a garden, you can look at a mind, if your garden is totally, has great soil and is ready for nourishment and everything like that, you plant a seed, it will grow beautifully. That's my desire, that all of our minds are like a beautifully well-kept garden, that when we plant seeds of our vision for the future, when we plant seeds of possibility, when we meet people and doors are open, that we have the mind the mind that creates the eyes to see and the ears to hear. But what often happens is our soil is a little bit muddled. You know, it has some weeds in there. It has some weeds. If somebody said that you're not going to amount to anything, and they told us that we were 5 when we were 5, but now we're 45 and we still think it.
Yeah, that's so true.
Or you know, and there's some of us who have a mind where, you know, we hear things and we're like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's think positive. But guess what? You know, there's a lot of us, I hear that and we get excited, but if you don't actually connect to what you're thinking positive about, you're lying to yourself. Too many of us are lying to ourselves in this day and age, breaking rapport with our own self, breaking relationship with our own self. So how can we expect to have healthy relationships if we can't have one with ourselves? How can we expect to have our vision manifested if we can't even take care of ourselves and our minds we can't direct our mind on where to go? One of the biggest functions of our mind is that it directs energy and it connects to source, the higher being. And if we can't allow those two powerful things in the unseen, if that can't manifest in our life, if we don't understand that, we're like losing 90% of what life is all about. Yeah. Right? So for me, to answer your question, why would someone come to a mindologist, is to be able to do some spring cleaning, to be able to realign your thinking with who you truly are and what you truly desire. So anytime you get in a stump, like you feel like you're hitting a wall, anytime you feel stuck, you're feeling unsatisfied, you're saying, I'm not happy with my life, I'm not happy with my results. Or often, I work with a lot of women who are powerful, strong women doing great things, and they have a big smile on their face on the outside, but on the inside, when nobody's looking, when the doors are closed and it's just them and their thoughts overtake them. They're still thinking about tragedies in the past, and they feel like they can't even speak up because they're a powerful woman. We got to end that. Because, you know, I've aligned myself with Red Table Talks with Jada Pinkett Smith and her team. And what I love about it is it's opening up a table for transparent conversations. And it doesn't matter. It could be Alicia Keys, it could be Jada Pinkett Smith, or it could be yourself, or it could be myself. You know, we are all going through the same thing. A lot of us have depressing moments. You're not the only one. A lot of us have toxic thoughts thinking that, you know, I can't do this. You're not the only one. A lot of us don't want to get out of bed at some days. You're not the only one. But if you think that you're the only one and you stay stuck, you're missing the point of the lesson. You know, we go through hills and valleys in life for a reason. Those who need a mindologist are stuck in the valley that they can't even see the hill. So we got to get you out of that hill, realign your thinking through some powerful techniques. A lot of great things, you know, I always say the things that you can't see or don't see physically is probably the most powerful thing out there. So we've learned these tools to be able to get you out of that valley, get you out of this stuckness, especially during this time of coronavirus, to think differently, rewire your mind. And lastly, for this, I will say that, you know, thoughts, we've heard that thoughts become things. What you think, you manifest. Earl Nightingale, who's a phenomenal leader in the industry, has said that we become what we think about. So my question to you is, what are you thinking? Most people don't know what they're thinking. That's why they come to see us.
I think a lot of people are also afraid to think too much because they are. It's like, are they the correct things that I do? What if, and the fear, I would say, and the promises. Yes, exactly like you just described. The promises that we give to ourselves, and we tend to break them. So if we can't really keep the promises to ourselves, how can we even talk about keeping the promises with anyone else? Exactly. You mentioned your different certifications. What are the 5 master certifications that you have?
Awesome. Yeah, good question. And just on that note, that thought, like, it's true. That's such a true comment that you said, that a lot of us, you know, we overthink. So it's our thinking that gets us stuck. It's our thinking that can free us, ironically enough. And, you know, I call it the second thought. There's sometimes you would look and you would see, you know what, I should open up a coffee shop that serves only the finest coffee. And we have this vision, but that second thought kicks in. Oh, but you know what, then I'm gonna have to find all the fine coffee. Oh, that's going to be really hard. What if I'm missing one? What if people don't come? Then I have to find location. And all these extra thoughts come in. So that's really what slows us down. So you're absolutely right. When you have that first thought, I say your first mind is your right mind. Go with it. Stop thinking until it's done.
The instinct over intellect.
Instinct over intellect. I love it. Absolutely. So the 5 master certifications that I have. So the first one is in neuro-linguistic programming. So neuro-linguistic programming, NLP for short, it's really, again, that is literally defined as the study of the human mind and how to reproduce excellence. That's a core backing. What I love about neuro-linguistic programming, because I learned quantum NLP, which brings it up a level, and it ties in the world of science. So it brings in neuroscience and metaphysics and quantum physics, and it literally, in my opinion, connects the intangible world, like the spiritual world, and or like energies and things like that. So it was a beautiful marriage between the two. So that's one. Neurolinguistic coaching, which is a totally another skill, to use it as a practitioner for yourself, and to use the techniques for other people through coaching. So that's my second one. I'm also a master hypnotist. So hypnosis is a skill. Now, when I first learned about hypnosis, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, because I thought of like people on stage barking like a dog, quacking like a chicken. I was like, it's not for me. But you know what? I realized that hypnosis, what it actually does, it increases your focus times like 100%. It's actually 1,000%, to be honest. So it allows you, what it does, it allows you to calm your body. It's just like a meditation. You completely calm your body. And then you can literally take the empowering thoughts that you want and implant it in your mind. It's almost like writing it in your mind. And it sticks, and you wake up, you're like, whoa, it has the power to rewire you. There's a lot of people that go in saying, I want to stop smoking. They'll have a hypnosis session. They come out, they're like, I don't even need to smoke. It's like night and day. It's almost like, oh my gosh, is this for real? That's how powerful it is. So hypnosis.
Is there any side effect?
Side effect of greatness is the only thing. No, you know what? And a lot of times, hypnosis is a tool. So, just like any tool, if you use a hammer you taking a nail and putting it in a piece of wood, or you use a hammer to hurt somebody, it's not the hammer's fault. It's how you're using it. So it's who's using it. And that's why I love the combination of neurolinguistic, because linguistic, it's about your words. It's about the language. So with that coined with hypnosis, it's very powerful. So we're very mindful of what we say. But nonetheless, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So if you are, some people say, oh, you can't hypnotize me, or they're scared, they're like, somebody's going to enter into my mind. If it's not congruent with who you are, your body will be like, no, I don't believe in that. Your body will snap out of it. So it's totally safe. No disclaimers necessary. Your body knows, is it always in full control. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So that's to clear that up.
Is that something that you can actually help people now, as you can't really receive people? Can you do it online, for example?
Online, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I obviously Zoom is better. You see them, right? And you want to make sure that they're in a safe space or whatnot. But it's just a deep state of relaxation. Put it that way.
Okay.
That's it. And then we have some fun. And,
the only problem is that if the Zoom disconnects,
right.
So you wake up.
Right. There's stories of hypnotists that we relax people, get them in the trance, but you got to make sure you take them out.
Exactly. So
yeah, you can't stay there. But yeah, so hypnosis is the third, or being a hypnotist, and the fourth one is business process reengineering. So that is in the business field, and it's rewiring how we view our processes in business. So this I did professionally in corporate. This is what I work for a Fortune 500 company. I was blessed to be able to climb the corporate ladder, hit 6 figures, and they were paying me to be able to come and change the way people think about their processes. Efficiency and effectiveness was the key. And it's in order to achieve that was through productivity. So what I've done is I've taken those business tools and applied it to our personal lives. And so I have tools that I used to use as a consultant, internal business consultant, and I use in the personal development. It's phenomenal. They work. It's beautiful. So that's that one. And the last one is timeline therapy. So timeline therapy is the other certification I have, and that is about an emotional release. So all the I say, we have baggage from the past. We walk around, some people walk around. What can I use as an example? If this is like, maybe someone said I wasn't good enough, someone said you'll never amount to anything, then you heard verbal abuse. We're actually literally walking with it on a daily basis in our lives. And so some of us haven't learned to get rid of it. And so we feel heavy. We don't know what it is, but we feel heavy. So it's a mental and emotional release process where we get to go back and preserve the learnings and reframe the things that happen without, I know in some traditional therapy, they sit there and they talk about it over and over and over again, which a little bit scares me because you're ingraining it over and over again in your mind as you talk about the problem. So this actually is non-contextual, but it actually helps you release the emotional attachment to those events that you maybe have deemed as traumatic, so that you can feel lighter, you can feel free to move forward in your life. So those are the certifications, deep studies, hours, like boot camp training to be able to do that. But I'm blessed to be able to learn it.
And what do you see? And I'm pretty sure that especially now, there's a lot of people that are reevaluating their lives and really thinking like, okay, I never really had time to do so, but I see that I'm sort of going around in my life. So that's called being stuck in your life, or procrastination is just holding you back. What would you say? What is the frequent reason for being stuck in someone's lives, and what would you recommend how to make the change in your life?
Great question. So the question was, what is the reason why people are in this kind of rat race in the wheel, and why they're stuck, and what we can do to get out of it? Well, one of the key things why people are stuck in life is because they only see their stuckness. That's all they see. That's all they know. Then they go and they talk about it, then they cry about it, then they wallow about it. It's a repeat cycles because we're repeating the cycle mentally. That's all it is. Because if I were to say, I would never be able to say that our life will be free of obstacles that will keep us stuck. That's not realistic. That's not going to happen. That's not the point in life, because it won't make you grow. So the main reason why people are stuck is because that's all they see. They need to be able to think differently. Einstein even said, you cannot solve a problem with the same thinking that you use to create it. So what that means is you need to shift your mind. You need a different perspective, another way to say that. So a lot of people, when I work with clients, they come to me, they're like, you know what, let's talk about relationships. I keep dating. Have you ever, you may have dated one man and he was like totally bad for you, and you're like, you finally got out of that relationship. You're like, whoa, that was hard, and I'm moving on. And you date another man, he's like, okay, he seems nice. Next thing you know, it seems like the exact same guy that you let go of. There's a cycle, a relationship loop. Or maybe a boss. Every job that you enter, your boss is so hard on you, coming down on you. Whatever the case may be, there's a loop. All that means is there's a lesson that you need to learn. If we can learn the lesson and overcome from that lesson, we won't attract that anymore. As a matter of fact, if you look at life like levels, okay, because we evolve. As we evolve, we get higher, we go in higher levels, higher vibrations. If we're at a certain level and our thinking is at a certain level, our problem is at a certain level. We're in the state of problem. This is where stuckness happens. So when we want to, so what actually happens if we don't learn and shift our thinking and move to the next level, we continuously attract things on this level that will keep us stuck. So if it's not the boyfriend, then it may be a friendship. If it's not a friendship, maybe a boss. If it's not, and all these things, you start to wonder, why do these things happen to me over and over? I've been there personally, and I've been there with clients time and time again, because this is all we saw. There's times when I went through different experiences and I had to say, why do I keep attracting people that are trying to make me feel less than who I am? And to be very honest, for those of you who are ready to hear, really, I always say it starts with the person in the mirror. A deep reflection of self, understanding what was my job, my role in that relationship? How do I actually feel about myself? Do I feel that I'm worthy? Because we actually teach people how to treat us unconsciously. So really, to get out of, that's just an example, but for people who are stuck in life, what you need is a different perspective. And sometimes you can shift perspectives on your own, And most of the time you need somebody to work with, somebody, you know, even if it's a friend who may be able to help. Not, you know, not every friend is a therapist or a psychologist or works in the field of mind mastery, but there are some friends that know you well enough to help you get out of it. Or, you know, that's why every coach has a coach, every mentor has a mentor. You know, reach out and get through it, because there's people that stay stuck for years. I spent 6 years searching for answers that when I hired my coach at that time, she told me in 6 days. So it collapses timeframes in working with people. So how you get unstuck is really, it's a shift of thinking, and work with someone if you don't know how to do it for yourself.
What would you, just to continue a little more about it, I have been lately interviewing a lot of specialists on domestic violence, and we see everywhere a peak of domestic violence. What would you say, or what would your recommendation be to someone which could be seeing now and thinking like, okay, should I feel guilty? Do I do that? That people attack me? Like just to clarify a little, because I see a lot of victims in that sense. That with all due respect, I think that it's really hard to understand one which has been repeatedly by different people being a victim of domestic violence or whatever different type of violence. Like how can we change ourselves that we sort of don't draw that energy towards us? What would be your like thought of I'm very curious to know what type of advice would you give?
It's a great, great, great question. And I'm known for keeping it really real. I'm known for just being very authentic and being very transparent. I don't tell you what you want to hear. I often tell you what you need to hear rather than what you want to hear. And sometimes I'm very gentle depending on, because I don't know who's watching. I don't know what stage you're at. I haven't done an assessment. I don't know where you are. So I'm going to gently say this, but I do want to give you the truth. And if that's okay with you, can I just give you the raw truth about it? Okay.
Yeah.
So the question was, for people who go through domestic violence, maybe even repeatedly, whether it's in the same relationship or another relationship, how do they shift themselves and their thinking so they don't attract that again? And how can they stop themselves from thinking like, how could that be me? I didn't tell him to strike me. I didn't make him hit me. How could that be me? And domestic violence is one example, and there's many others that even, you know, there's people that pass, and there's little kids that pass. So there's a lot of questions in life of how could this happen? I didn't ask for this. And I'll say this with so much love and compassion in my heart. Well, first things first is you want to get out of the situation. It's hard to become peaceful and in tune with yourself, to actually hear yourself when you're in an environment that is abusive. It wasn't physical abuse, but it was emotional and mental abuse in a relationship for at least 3 years. It got really bad near the end. Obviously, that's why it ended. But in the beginning, it wasn't like that, but it just progressed somewhere in that time frame. So I know what it's like. And at that time, I had like 2 or 3 of my master certifications. So I knew about the mind. I knew about the power of not having, you know, the energy and letting all this negativity come off. And I knew about owning things for myself. So the first thing I had to do is I escaped the environment, make sure that I'm away and that I am safe and that you're secure. So if you're going through a domestic violence situation, please avoid it. At all costs, get out, go visit somebody else, get help immediately. You don't need to stay there. No matter how much they say they love you, no matter how much they say they're sorry, they have a challenge in their life currently, and they're taking it out on you, and you're not a beating bag, a punching bag, verbally, mentally, physically, sexually, what have you. So get out. That's the first thing. The second thing, what I had to do is, after I left the situation, then I had time to breathe and meditate and be like, why did this happen? Because I also, it wasn't as bad, but I had a relationship that was almost like that in the past. So I said, Chantelle, this is a pattern. This is like kind of a pattern with you. What's happening? And so I had to, it took a lot of being real with myself in the mirror to stop blaming them. Because we often blame them. How could they, this, that, and the other? Because they had their own, you know, I come to realize that, you know, they witnessed their father verbally abusing their mother. So they're going to follow suit. So they have their own challenges and their own reasons why it came from them. But why did you attract that in your life? Anytime I have anything, whether it's good or bad, I ask myself one key thing during my quiet meditation for the day or in the morning. And I said, how did I attract that in my life and why? So that's one of the questions that you can ask yourself. Why did I attract that in my life? And it depends on your level of your relationship with yourself, how well you like. If you're one that meditates and gets answers, then it's an easier practice. If you've not really done that, you're not really spiritual, if you're not really in tune with energy, then you may want to actually hire somebody and let them walk you through, take your hand and walk you through it. But what's required is a deep reflection of how did I let that in my life? What lesson did I learn from that? What am I portraying in my energy? You see, in science, there's about a 9 feet radius around us. It's called our energy field. So people can feel us before they even see us. Before we walk in a room, our energy comes first. So there's a certain energy that we put off, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes indifferent. So what energy am I putting out what makes them think, what gives them the audacity to think it's okay to raise their hand at me or to say those words to me? Because something in my energy said that it's okay, and that's why they did it. Because they wouldn't do it with some other people, but they're doing it with me. So it's kind of just a deep questioning with self, Regni, to be able to really hone in on why did that happen to me and what can I learn from it and what do I need to change. Oftentimes it's an increase. People with low self-esteem, people who don't think much of themselves are great targets. That's what I'm going to say. They're great targets. So as you increase who I am and you walk with a certain posture and be like, and it's not just obviously walking with it, but it's knowing in the depth of you, you just start to repel those people. Those people won't even try it with you. They'll jump to the next victim. And I say victim lightly, you know? So they'll jump to the next person, but they won't even try it with you because your energy, your posture, it's different. So hopefully that helps you. But if you need further help and want to deep dive into it more, I'm more than happy to have a conversation.
It just as last week was actually a mental health week in London, and we had a lot of different speakers about the mental health, their human rights, and domestic violence. So I think it was complementing everything that we talked last week, and I think there's still people that are watching, and I saw a lot of patterns, as you say, also with talking with some of the victims, that now they have been able to break the pattern, and some had done it through writing the books about them, multiple of them, just to, as you see, sometimes we need to say it out loud. Sometimes we really need to go very deep to understand what is going on, and sometimes just it's as simple or as difficult as it might seem, is something that you just say that, why do I allow it? What is happening? Like, why do I feel so low that as we say, like, why do dogs attack some people and never like even approach the others? It's the same what in the nature we would say that whenever you are under stress, you start to sweat, and they can understand, they can smell that, and they know that you're best victim for that. I don't know how it works with the energy. I I would assume that it has similarities in
Yes,
that.
exactly. Exactly. I told you the unseen, the things that we can't actually physically see is some of the most powerful things out there, and energy is absolutely one of them.
And can you tell us a little more about your mind transforming process? Like, what is the uniqueness to you as a coach, and what process do you use?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been teaching. I'm saying I'm an educator right now at this point because I've been versus a coach. So my main passion is to be able to teach and transform. I love to see the aha moments in people. I've been in front of rooms since I was a teenager. I started young at the YMCA. I was teaching at the Young Entrepreneurship Program, and I moved into business through network marketing, and then I moved into corporate space. I was a corporate trainer, teaching about shifting their thinking around processes, etc. So really, what I've done, and I have literally taken the plethora of information, because there was a time I used to call myself a seminar junkie. If there was a seminar on personal development, I was there, I was paying, I was front row, I showed up, and it just led me to go onto these women's retreats. And I was like, I was in my, I think it was 22, I remember I was on a retreat in Toronto, or just north of Toronto. And I was young, 22, little black girl with blocks. And there was these older women who were Caucasian in their 50s, and so it was all of them and then me. It was just, I was like, hey, I just started getting used to it. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm different and I'm okay with it. So I've been on this journey for so long. I've been seeking, I like processes. Remember, I'm a process person. Tell me A, B, and C. Don't just tell me C and I have to figure out A and B on my own, because that's challenging and it's irritating. And if I can't find it, I'm frustrated. So I was so frustrated with many things in life. And I realized that these gurus out there in the world of personal development, they were saying such great things. You got to think positive. You got your mind over matter. All these wonderful sayings that sound good and make us feel good inside. But when we don't connect with it, and 90% of people don't, it doesn't impact our life. We can't apply it. So like I was saying, knowledge, we have access to knowledge nowadays, but if it doesn't connect, we're missing the understanding, which is next. And after understanding comes the wisdom. And wisdom is applied knowledge. So as a corporate trainer, I found the most alarming statistic that made me question what I was doing. And it was 3% of people in the room that you're training a concept on actually apply what you say. 3%. So that goes for anything, whether it's a Zoom call or at a conference. I've been in front of rooms of 5, 10, 15, 5,000, 10,000 people, and whatever comes out of the speaker's mouth, 3% of people are going to apply it. So what I went on to do, and as I said, okay, so I collected all this information. And for me, obviously, I came from the neurolinguistic. I learned a lot about the science, like I talked about before. So it has a scientific, proven, element and component to it. I'm also a very spiritual person. I have an amazing relationship with the Creator God. I love Him, and He's blessed me so much. And I'm indifferent of the he, she, entity, it, that. I don't get caught up in the labels, because we all know when we say, well, I believe in something greater than me, it's God. Okay, good. So we agree there's something greater. And through my spiritual discovery, and I've lived in about 6 different countries. I've climbed Machu Picchu, went to Peru, climbed Machu Picchu, and meditated on the top of the mountain. I've been in temples when I lived in Japan for a year and a half, and so I've done some deep searching. I feel like that's when I was searching for purpose. I wanted to connect with myself. So the spirituality plays a huge component in your mind huge component in mind transformation. People who are new to it, I teach it, so I'll take you step by step. And the last element is the business world. So everything that I've learned as an external or internal and external consultant, everything I've learned from all my network marketing, everything that I've learned from launching businesses of my own, everything that I've learned from helping others launch business. So my mind transformation process, I've taken all the information, I filled in the gaps of what I found, that people and the gurus are saying that if we're not applying it, because look, the gurus are still talking and depression rates are going up, anxiety rates are going up. There's something not connecting with people. Yet we're spending 3K, 5K, 10K, 20K in programs, and we leave and we feel good, you know, and by all means, kudos to all those who do these things and have these programs, kudos. Yet if people aren't being impacted, I find that it's like, that breaks my heart, because it doesn't allow me to fulfill my purpose of letting people be free. So I have a mind transformation process, and I call it the Simone method. And so I've taken the world of spirituality, I've taken the world of science, I've taken the world of business, tools, and I've layered them all into this transformation process, where it not only teaches you, because knowledge is power, but you need to apply it. So it teaches, it also gives you real practical examples of things like we just talked about. Some of us literally go through abuse on a regular basis. Some of us are legit suffering from depression and really contemplating suicide, or have contemplated suicide. These are real, that's not a theory. So we incorporate real practical examples of what we do. And then I have an application, which is the most powerful part. I was speaking to a previous client the other day, and she's like, okay, she just invested in this program and that program and a mastermind all at the same time. I'm like, how are you going to implement if you just joined 3 programs at one time? Now you're 10, 20K in the hole, and are you going to receive the results from it? So if we don't have that implementation, it really, to me, it's almost like, that was great knowledge, and then, you know, a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, we forget, and then it just becomes, you know, another book or another program that's stored on our computer. So for me, I have an accountability cohort. So there's an accountability group. Masterminds are beautiful, they're powerful. When people get together and hold each other accountable, we see results. So in my program, embedded in that, I have the learning of practical examples, and I have the accountability. So we can work together, so you actually see results. So my process literally takes people from identifying what the challenge may be. There's that self-assessment, and I can share one of the assessments if you like. It's a very quick and easy and so powerful. It can instantly tell you where you're stuck anytime. So I can share that with you. That's all in the identification stage of my mind transformation process. The second step is focusing in on overcoming. There are many factors. You know, when we think about all the information that we have a plethora of information. We actually have 2 million bits of information that hits us per second. So if we go 1, 2, 3, we just had 3 million bits of data, consciously now, that hit us, from the sounds, from what we're feeling in our butt as we're sitting in a seat, or standing on our feet, what we're feeling at the bottom of our foot, from the colors. There's so many colors on this screen alone. We have all this data. And then of course, what we overhear, what we don't pay attention to. And so and from that 2 million bits of data, there is our mind processes it and breaks it down to 134 bits. That's a huge difference. So what makes us filter out stuff and what makes us keep stuff? And I call it our filters. I call it our faith filters. So when we listen to CNN, that could be part of the 2 million bits, but is that fearful, you know, demeanor that they have, that they share with us over and over again, is that what's sticking in your mind? If your filters are programmed to receive that, then that is what's sticking in your mind. So I have 7 different points. I call them mental checkpoints. There's 7 different points of things that we need to search within ourselves of what we're consuming. Does it land? Does it stick? How do we perceive information? There's people that can pick up, you know, you could be 1 phone call away from the solution to your current challenge right now. You need finances? I bet you know someone that you can pick up the phone and can help you with finances. You need a new home? I bet you there's somebody out there that wants to be able to rent their space. All our solutions are right in front of us. And this is something I tell myself daily. That's why we don't have problems, we have challenges. The challenge is, can you challenge yourself enough to go find the solution? But here's the thing. Most people don't have the eyes to see the solution, which is meaning they don't have the mind. So that's why the shift in perspective is important, because somebody can call you and say, I really want to invest in a company and I want to invest in somebody who has a dream, but I just don't know who. And that could be you. You could be sitting there, I have a dream and I need finances. But if you don't have the mind to really wired for that, and if you don't have the ears to hear and the eyes to see, you could say, well, you know what? You should try Googling angel investing. Maybe see what you find. Okay, thanks. Have a good day. Bye. And you let that opportunity go because it didn't click. So the mind transformation process breaks down these elements so that we can understand where we're at and what we can do to overcome. The last step is mastery. And that's when we get a repeatable process that we can do over. It's a lifetime formula that you can apply over and over and over again. How to really engage your soul, because your mind is actually in your soul. There's a big difference between your soul and your spirit. So your mind houses your soul, houses your will, and houses your emotion. Not your mind. Your soul houses your mind, your will, and emotions. Your soul houses your mind, will, and emotion. Your soul also connects to the spirit, to energy, to the higher being, whatever you call it. Your soul connects to that. There is a battle in life for your soul. And we're freed through our spirit. So I go deeper into that. And literally that's the process, that's the mind transformation process. It's a certification process. And I've just been so blessed to be able to teach it, so blessed to be able to get access to the information. And it's my mission to teach every single person how this process works and stop leaving out bits of information, give you the full formula, and create an environment for you to succeed so you can apply it and really make an impactful change.
It's beautiful because I have seen a lot of changes in our leadership as well, and that means that more and more important all the emotional intelligence becomes over the intellectual intelligence. So basically, what you were just describing us is having the connection between your mind and your whatever soul, spirit, heart, whatever, however you call. And I think that also the new generation leaders will be made from that field that you just described, and having that connection. So before I ask you what would be your 3 recommendations how to dominate the decade? Thank you everybody that has joined us in Zoom. I have seen a lot of people that try to connect to Zoom. Please make sure that you have downloaded the new version of Zoom. Otherwise, the last week has been that it just kicks you out for some reason. It's not me. It has been the problem when people haven't downloaded the new version of Zoom. So please, if you want to join us in Zoom, make sure that you have new software installed. Thank you very much, everybody, that you are watching in Facebook. We have people connected from UK, we have people from Estonia, we have people from US, obviously from Mexico, and even from Spain. So thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions to Chantelle, please use that time until she's answering the 3 recommendations that she's going to give us. Write them down below the video, or if you are under Coral Desk video, then those questions will be answered after the session, because I see the questions that are below my profile, Ragne Sinikas. Nevertheless, I will advise you, if you haven't done and taken notes before, now is the time to grab the paper and the pen, because this is going to be epic. So, what would be your 3 recommendations? How to dominate the decade?
Absolutely. Well, to dominate the decade is such a powerful declaration. And you know what? Just because of it, I'm going to start with that. Number 1. You know, a lot of people, I'm going to share I have a love-hate relationship with affirmation. And here's the reason why. Affirmations are, of course, they're great. Of course, they're empowering. They do help program your mind. It's slow. It's not at a very immediate. It's slow. It's over time, but they do help program your mind, so it's good. So the reason why I dislike affirmations, because most people do it wrong. Most people have wrong language. Like when you're having an affirmation, you want to avoid any negative word. It sounds very practical, and it sounds like, yeah, duh. But some people say, I will never be abused again. I will never be abused again. I will never be a victim. You gotta not, some people use the negative, but our mind doesn't process the word not. Our mind doesn't process those conjugations. So really, you're instilling victim, 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 victim over and over again. So this is why, and that's gonna be my third recommendation coming, is working with somebody. But this is why I say, instead of, you can affirm things, but just here's point number one. Your declaration. To dominate the decade is a declaration. When we move our thinking from I wish, I hope, to I know, when it becomes a knowing, you start to declare and demand things in life. That alone has shifted so much in my life, where I stopped praying, God, can you please provide rent, and please, it's our birthright. So my number one recommendation is to start to declare what you want. Declare how you're going to dominate the decade. Because as you declare it, there's so many powerful forces, remember, things in the unseen, that is starting to move for your good. You have to be mindful of your language, and this is the key rule. Listen, I could come up with 20 different ways of how to write an affirmation, but that's going to take long and you're not going to remember them all. So are you okay if I give you one way, one thing to remember? Yes, it's say it the way you want it. That's it. Say it the way you want it, and my cherry on top is, and believe it. Say it the way you want it and believe it. Say it the way you want it and believe it. Say it the way you want it and believe it. And just like I did right now, you repeat it over and over again. That's a declaration. Finances is coming into my bank account today. Finances is coming into my bank account today. I have healthy relationships. I have healthy relationships. Just say it the way you want it. Most people, when you ask them questions like, what do you want out of life? Or what do you want in a marriage? A lot of us default to the things that we don't want. Oh, well, I don't want my man to be short. I don't want a lawyer. They're too serious. I don't want, where we go down the list of don't want. Ragney's laughing because it's true. That's what happens, right? Remember, my takeaway number one is declare it, and the key way to do it is to say it the way you want it. When I ask people what they want and they tell me what they don't want, all I do is sit there and be like, great. So can you answer the question that I asked now? What do you want? So that's number one. Write out what you want and declare it and believe it. Say it the way you want it and own it. And I promise you things will start to change. That's number one. Number two, recommendation, how to dominate the decade. You gotta get super, super, super real with yourself, which is know thyself. You can't help other people if you can't help yourself. You can't have a healthy relationship with others if you can't have a relationship with yourself. Absolutely. I see a comment here. May I talk to you about mental health program for teens? Absolutely. I have one actually. So it'd be my honor and pleasure to connect on that. It's absolutely. Let's exchange information. So thank you, John. So you got to get super real with yourself. Have those conversations. I call them mirror conversations. So oftentimes I do a training, or I do, I'm on Facebook Live like we are here today. And later on in the day, I'd go in the mirror and be like, so Chantelle, what's your learning? What's your revelation today? You never stop learning. When you're done, you're dead. Right? That's what my mentor, my master trainer used to say. When you're done, you're dead. We always got to learn. So as you start to reflect and get really real with yourself, factor in time with yourself, meditation, prayer. But you know, I preface that with this, just like my love-hate relationship with affirmations. Meditation and prayer, it's not a hope, it's not a wish. Many people cross their fingers and say, okay, well, I'll put it out there in the universe and just let it come back to me. That's a beautiful thought, but there's a formula. There's a formula to meditation. There's a formula to prayer. There's effective prayers and there's ineffective prayers. So when we say, yeah, go pray about it, it's almost like a cliche for those of you, oh yeah, I'll pray for you, I'll pray about it. Are you praying in the right way? This is why I teach, because I know that there's a formula. So please reach out to me at my website, chantellesimone.com. All the information's there, you can connect with me. But nonetheless, have time where you pray effectively and you meditate effectively and you really get to know yourself. If you say something, you got to do it, because I'm going to share one thing with that before I move to point number 3. We have to build a relationship with ourselves, with a relationship of our mind. Your mind, your unconscious mind specifically, is of the age of a 5-year-old. Okay, because when you get to 5 to 7, that's when things start to be realistic and your experiences start to kick in and you start to form opinions. So if you have a child that's less than 7 years old, you got to nurture them with all positivity, flood them with all greatness, because it literally dictates their future. So our mind is the age of a 5-year-old. So if you say, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire, and you're telling yourself that, but you're not doing things about it. If somebody calls you and says, do you want to start a business? You say, no, I don't think I can. Your mind is confused. Because it's like, but I thought we were going to be a millionaire, but we're not doing it with it. So we're not a millionaire. I don't get it. And a confused mind does nothing. So this is when I say build relationship with yourself. If you say that when people say even something as basic as, how are you today? And people say, oh, I'm good. But if you had a pretty crappy day, your mind is going to be like, but our day sucked. What do you mean? I'm good. And we think it's a good thing because we have to stay positive. No, it's called lying to yourself. So just be real. You don't have to say, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. How are you? I'm good, how are you? I'm good, how are you? No, you can say, well, it's getting better. Be real. Don't talk to the negative, of course. Don't speak that into existence, but be real with yourself so your mind stays aligned with you. So that's my little tip for that. And my third and final recommendation to dominate the decade is to, above all, seek your purpose. And you can seek it by getting help and work with a mentor. Work with somebody. It collapses time frames. It saves you time, money, and energy. And if you're new to personal development, I know some courses are like $5,000, $10,000, and you may not see the immediate value. It may scare you to do it. But when you invest in don't look at it as if you're investing in somebody else, as you are, but know that you're investing in yourself first. You got to take your life and yourself seriously. In order to be that spark and be that light, we all need help. Serena Williams is the #1 tennis player in the world. She has a coach that tells her how to dress. She has a coach that tells her what to eat. She has a coach that tells her just for the right hand. She has a coach for the left hand. She has a coach for every aspect of her life. Greatness is not on accident. If you want to get out of your stuckness, whether it's domestic violence that you've gone through or confusion, you want life clarity, you want to relieve mental health. This is why I work in this field. We got to seek help and invest in these programs that work and that resonate with you. Find a mentor, find a coach, find a program that will shift you. You got to invest more in your personal development than anything else. And that's how you dominate the decade.
Beautiful. I think that we were actually so clear with absolutely everything that we provided that there's only clapping and great comments. But besides the question that we received here, and one question which was, what is your mission in life? You talked about your purpose, and you talked about, I don't know if there's any difference with your purpose and with your mission. If there is, so share with us.
The mission and purpose is one and the same. It is to help people overcome challenges so that we can live our God-given purpose on earth. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Starts with the mind, and that's why I'm a mindologist.
Beautiful. So we will be, may you talk about your mental health program for teens? I understand that you will be giving more information separately from there. So
please reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to.
Sure, I will exchange the context. So what I want to say is I want to thank you, Chantelle, because you gave us really cool tools today where we can start to change our journeys. I really, really do hope that who you were watching, listening, that you did make notes. If you didn't, go back to this video. Take your journal, take your paper, pen, and just start to first write things down. And as mentioned several times during this interview, and I'm all about you. You already know what will come next now. We need to apply. Exactly. We need to apply everything that we see that can change my life. Don't wait. Speed of implementation. So in 48 hours, you need to have whatever you listen today and say that will work for my life. Implement. Whether it's the way that you were doing your affirmations before. So be now very straightforward. Use only positive words and say the way you want it and believe it, as Chantelle said. Yes. The second point, I really, really hope that you wrote down that as well. So get real about yourself. And we have talked, I think now almost, that's the 9th week that we have talked about, you need to know who you are, what is your life purpose. Yes. If you don't know that, you will be at the same place, doing the same things with the same people, and just expecting different results, which is never going to happen. Absolutely. And the third, obviously, that's why all those incredible mentors, coaches, speakers, educators are in front of you. I have been bringing them to your doorstep. So the only thing which you need to take is invest in yourself, take the time to really listen and work through all the information that you are listening. So that way you can become the hero of your life. But what is most important is that with one click, by sharing this video, you can change who knows how many more lives. So be the hero in your life and be the hero in everybody else's life that is in your network. Do it. Is there anything that you would like to share as a final note? And if someone wants to follow you, contact you, how can they do so?
Absolutely. Well, my website is chantellesimone.com. So you can see the spelling of my name there with a C and a double L-E, Simone.com, and it has a lot of the information there. I am in the pre-launch, so it's an early bird. So if any of the information I shared today, if you piqued your curiosity, if you want to know more, I have put it all into a book. I'm launching a thought catch concept book. And so it's on pre-sale early bird right now for $9.97. It's available for you. And also I'm launching the e-learning platform where I teach the Simone method of the mind transformation. So it's a perfect opportunity for you to reach out. Now, just book time with me. I would love to have a conversation. I would love to chat. I would love to see how I can help serve you. If there's people, you know, if you're connected, I've heard the mental health for teens a couple of times. So if you go to my Calendly link, maybe we can post it afterwards. Just book a time and let's just chat, and we'll take it from there. So I would say that always reach out on my social media platforms. It's Chantelle Simone International, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Beautiful. So we will see you tomorrow, the same place, the same time, with another speaker. Who it is, you need to check out. So, and I will see everybody who speaks Spanish in less than 1 hour. So thank you very much for joining us today. Be blessed and take action. And Chantelle, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It was awesome having you guys. Be blessed, stay connected, take action, and reach out, connect. I would love to chat. Bye-bye.